of fertilizer across the world, and farmers are crying all over the world because this is going to prevent them from putting under cultivation a number of hectares they have decided to plant this year. And in essence, it means that prices of food are likely to also go up. We're going to take a look at that with an economist based in Italy, Appiah-Konadu, and then Gyan based in the UK, as to how these issues can be mitigated, and then the sanctions that have come along with the invasion by Russia in Ukraine. But before we continue, let's go for the base language platform and see what we have for today. Welcome back to Market Avenue. Now we're seeing a little bit of bullishness on the Ghana Stock Exchange, though the composite index is still in the negative trajectory. We're going to the stock market to talk to Esther Edu about what has transpired today.
Hello, Edward. Well, for today, the composite index went up by 6.59 points, which is very good. And also the financial stocks went up by 11.97 points, partly due to activities of Cal Bank and ETI. In terms of year-to-date, we have it now at negative 1.60%, and the financial stock too at negative 0.43%. For volume, it turns out that this week we've not had activity being really rampant, and in terms of volume, we have it around just 364,808. And I think the highest we've had for this week in terms of volume was yesterday at 541,830. And for value, this is the highest we've had for this week at 413,676 Ghana cedis. The market capitalization has gone up. We don't know whether we'll be getting close to the 64 billion any moment from now, but we are at 63.718 billion Ghana cedis. And for activities, trading results for today, we have equities such as ETI and Cal Bank, yes. In terms of total shares traded, ETI, I think, was the highest for today at 60,271, and it lost a peswa. For ETI, it gained a peswa. So it was trading yesterday at 0.14 peswas and now at 0.15 peswas. And it sold 111,706 shares. And for other equities that exchange hands for today, we have Access at 13,200. We have Bob at 6,536. I've spoken about Cal Bank already. Clyde, 250. EGL at 29,720. Goil, just 100 shares. MTN, just 1,000. And PBC 0, didn't sell anything. And Standard Chartered Bank, 80,000. And I think that sums it up for the 363,164 shares that exchange hands on the Bourse today.
Wow, that's great. So, as an African farmer, what will be the impact, or what has been the impact of the invasion of Russia and Ukraine on your business? There are a lot of ramifications to that, and we're going to find out more from Kwadwo Gyan, a financial analyst based in the UK, and Appiah-Konadu based in Italy. So we're getting hooked to them via Zoom to find out more from these gentlemen as to how these crisis in between Ukraine and Russia is going to affect the farmer out there, because we've seen that price of fertilizer have shot up significantly, and this will have a toll on the activities or business of farmers. All right, Kwadwo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. Paul, you're also welcome.
Thank you very much, Bishop, for having me on your show this evening.
Fantastic. Great. Now, Kwadwo, let's start with you. As an African farmer based in, let's say, Boku, and I'm doing my millet business, why should I be worried about the war between Ukraine and Russia?
Well, first of all, I think that a lot of people have the misconception that this is a war between Russia and Ukraine, but there are so much implications and ramifications that goes on, because Russia accounts for 21% of the global potash market, which is more or less potash is used as part of the ingredients for fertilizer. So if you are a farmer based in Boko who relies on fertilizer, and your fertilizer is imported, then with what is going on in Russia at the moment, there's going to be a value chain disruption. And of course, when there's value chain disruption and there's not enough of these products coming back to you, then it's going to be a bit more expensive for it to get to a point where you might not even have fertilizers for your plants. And of course, there are rumors that Russia is actually trying to cut down on export of these products, because they've seen all these sanctions coming towards them, and they are also retaliating to say, okay, if you want to put sanctions on us, then the things that you need from us, we also cut them off, coming to you. And so countries like Brazil, who rely on so much, almost about 80% of fertilizer imports, about a fifth of them comes from Russia, are basically scrambling around at the moment, looking for alternatives, because they cannot do without these supplies. And so, as your question goes, if you are a farmer in Ghana and in any village and you rely on fertilizer, then it will get to a point where you might have to pay more, or you get to a point where you might not even have any fertilizers.
Paul, you are from a farming community in Ghana, but you are based in Italy now. Italy is also they do a lot of farming, tomatoes we know, and apple. How is this issue playing out in Italy, and even you think might play out in Ghana as well?
Okay, to start with, we have to appreciate the fact that even before the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine on 24 February 2022, if you look at the preceding 18 months, the price of fertilizer on the global market has increased by more than 100%. If you take ammonia, for instance, between December 2020 and December 2021, the price of ammonia increased by more than 200% on the global market. And based on the fact that Russia is a major exporter of low-cost fertilizer and fertilizer inputs such as natural gas, nitrogen, potash, and phosphates, it is expected that the threat by Russia to ban the exportation of fertilizer in retaliation to the sanctions imposed on it by NATO and allied countries would have a significant impact on Italy, Europe in general, the US, Southern America, and also in Africa. If you take Europe, for instance, about 25% of fertilizer inputs imported into Europe come from Russia. So what this means is that this is to create an artificial shortage of fertilizer and fertilizer inputs, which will lead to further hikes in the prices of fertilizer. So indeed, the increase in the price of fertilizer, which started before the war on 24 February 2020, is expected to increase further, and this means that will build into the cost of production for farmers. And for Africa, for instance, fertilizer inputs contribute to about 30% or more of inputs of farmers. So if farmers in Europe, America, who are even subsidized by their governments, are crying foul, or are crying or are suffering from the hike in fertilizer prices, then low-income African farmers should prepare or brace up for hard periods in the times to come, because we may not even be able to afford the fuel that will be supplied on the global markets.
But the question is, why can't we do without fertilizer and do our farming and get what we expect? Still, Paul?
Yeah, I think that from where we have gotten to, it's about time African countries begin to think of alternatives, building our own fertilizer plants, or even going into organic agriculture. Where I stay in Italy now is a local community, Gedi. It's an agricultural community, a very small community, and they do mainly farming. And around this time, they turn the soil and mix it with animal waste. And that is their main source of fertilizer over here. They do mainly organic farming. And the animal waste, they mix it with the soil, leave it for some time. After it has rained, they start planting. And they are able to enjoy a very good harvest. So I think it's about time Africa also begins to think about organic farming. If we still want to do with fertilizer, I think we need to develop our own fertilizer plants to be able to produce our own fertilizer. Nigeria, Ghana, for instance, we now have natural gas. So we can import the other inputs to be able to produce our own fertilizer if we want to make it with fertilizer.
Kwadwo, let me find out from you. So how would this affect jobs on the continent of Africa if we're not going to get these fertilizer from Russia as expected, and even our GDP projections?
Yes, I mean, if you look at Ghana, I mean, we rely on a lot of local agriculture products, and of course, if these products require fertilizer to get them, especially even looking at the cocoa sector, where the government is trying to help farmers with fertilizer for them to be able to regrow some of these cocos that have swollen shoot disease. This is a very important aspect for the country in terms of even making money through export, because cocoa is a very, very important part of the Ghanaian agricultural sector. And so, as you're saying, it will get to a point where if we don't have enough fertilizers, people will lose their jobs. Farmers will end up losing their income, because most of them rely solely on farming income. And of course, if people lose their jobs, then of course it is going to also get to a point where food prices are going to be affected, because if we're not getting enough people to produce food onto the market, then food is going to be becoming very expensive within the country. And so it's very important that we get this sorted. And as you indicated earlier on, it's up to the government, because I think I heard the agri minister talking about an individual who was trying to invest about $100,000 or pounds to set up a fertilizer factory, and he basically was like that wasn't enough, and because the entry level for setting up all these fertilizer factories are very high, very high costs. They talk about millions, 10 million and over to be able to get all these fertilizer factories. I think that's the main reason why we don't have so many of them in Ghana. I mean, as of now, I don't really know if we have even more than 3 fertilizer factories, really huge ones. But I think as always, whenever these issues come, this is when the government needs to step in, because if this war persists for too long, then the implications are going to be very, 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 very high.
Well, let's find out from Paul. In Italy, have you seen a surge in price of food because of this war?
No. Energy is a key ingredient in the production of any commodity in any sector. So the hike in energy prices, oil, natural gas, petroleum products in general, has had a knock-on effect on consumables in general and all other sectors of economy. For instance, when you go to the supermarkets, things that used to cost, let's say €1, now the least you can get to be 1.52 euro. a liter of petrol at the pump when I was here in January 2020 was around 1.2 euro. Now a liter of fuel at the pump sells at 2 euro, and some places even above 2 euro in Italy. So the hike is affecting almost all sectors of the economy. You go to the supermarkets, price of things have increased, transportation costs is being adjusted across board, and almost all other things that we buy here has increased because of the hike in energy prices.
So, Gyan, Paul was alluding to the fact that even price of fertilizer had gone up prior to this war. Had that translated into food prices in the UK?
Yes, I mean, as he was saying, I mean, I think it's across Europe. I was in Germany last month, and you know, everyone was complaining about food prices, and of course in the UK, I mean, it's been, food prices have been going up even just before December anyway, and of course, as he was saying, if for instance a pint of milk or a bottle of milk in the UK normally would be about 90p. Now you're talking about paying almost 130 or 150 depending on which shop you go to. The most high level shop you go to you're going towards £2, and so it's very evident across board. And of course, it all comes from the rise in energy prices in the UK. As you might be aware, the government has now taken off the cap on energy prices, and so the energy companies are having a field day. Averagely, you'll be paying, if you were paying about £120 a month for let's say gas, at the moment you'll be paying about £240 a month for the same amount of energy price that you were using last year. And so it's basically, prices are rising everywhere, and it all stems from the fact that energy prices have risen. And of course, as you may be aware, the UK is trying to curtail its energy supply from Russia. And of course, if this happens, then we expect more higher prices next year. And so there's no end in sight to these energy prices. And of course, as we began with the conversation, these energy prices are used by factories around the country. And so if these factories are paying higher energy, because if individuals are paying from 120 to about 240, imagine how much these factories are paying. And so of course, in the end, it will end up being part of the prices that comes out of the factories onto the shelves.
Great. Now, Paul, looking at what is happening between these two countries, what should be the concerted effort now need to be deployed by government in Africa to be able to reduce this kind of pressure? I'm looking at the fertilizer issue. Nigeria produces a lot of natural gas. We have other countries on the continent that are also producing oil and gas. Ghana, we're doing the same. What can be done in the context of AFCT to make sure that some of these challenges that we are facing with fertilizer can be, minimized?
I think it's about time African countries and regional groups such as ECOWAS, African Union begin to think of ways Africa can adapt policies to be self-sustainable in key global commodities such as petroleum products, food, and all the other things that we need to survive as a society. We cannot continue to rely on the global markets. I mean, the case of Russia and Ukraine, or the Ukrainian crisis, has taught us that even when we have the money to import, we may not be able to import, because now Russia has decided to put a ban on the exportation of fertilizer products because of the sanctions that have been imposed on the country by the NATO allies. So even if you have the money, Russia is saying it is not going to export. So let's assume Russia is the only country in the world that exports fertilizer. What it means is that even when you have the capacity, you cannot import. And this should teach us a lesson that it is very important for us to be self-sufficient in all aspects of our lives as Africans.
All right.
And we need to adopt policies to build fertilizer plants and to do everything possible to make sure that we're able to provide for ourselves.
All right. So, gentlemen, this is how we draw the curtain on your side. We're going to go for a break. When we come back, we're going to look at a young man who has developed an app that is helping to make sure people get access to shelter. We'll be right back. Back to Market Avenue. I have with me Isaac Appiah, who is be able to come up with an app to address some accommodation challenges facing Ghanaians. Isaac, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great.
Big good evening to your cherished viewers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. What is Audiohive? What exactly is the app about?
Yeah, so Audiohive is basically an online real estate marketplace which seeks to remove the barriers between property owners and property seekers. I mean, many property seekers do go through lots of countless nightmarish experiences just to get a room to rent or buy. So I thought of coming up with something which would ease the process and which will also, give you the opportunity, right from the comfort of your couch. You have the ability to virtually tour a property you want to rent. So without moving out of your house, you are able to tour a property and make an informed decision about whether you are going in for this property or that. So that's basically what Audiohive is about.
So sitting at home doing a virtual tour.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are things that you order online and it comes not as you expected.
Yeah.
How do you address that challenge? Because the reality might be different from virtual realm.
That's true. But you know, they say a picture is more than it speaks better than a thousand words. But then a virtual tour also speaks way more than a picture does. So simply scrolling through pictures and making a decision we thought wouldn't suffice. So why wouldn't you have an immersive experience of the property itself? You're able to virtually tour the kitchen, virtually tour the hallway, virtually tour the room. So it's not perfect, just as, we know technology is, but basically it's more or less a jump higher than what we have currently. So I think it's going to save time, it's going to save energy, and of course make a more informed decision. Once you're able to narrow down the decision to what you prefer, then you could do the physical,
tour as well.
The tour as well, yeah.
Wow. So how long has it been in existence and what has been the impact so far?
Yeah, so basically we're heading towards our 2-year anniversary in the month of May. And so far, we've got many acclaim, both locally and internationally, because, one thing about clients is that they want convenience. And once you are getting the convenience, once you are saving time, then of course you would, your problem, we'll say, is halfway solved. So far we've made lots of impact in the lives of many users, and we seek to even make more with a few more features we are currently about to introduce. Yes, so basically, before I make a decision, I would like to have a fair idea, not just of the house, but of the community I'm within. Okay, the transport system in the community, the restaurants available, clinics, hospitals, schools, and all. And we're providing you with all this. So, clients are very much satisfied, and we feel that, the best is yet to come. We're still looking forward to make even more impacts in that regard.
Now, sorry, give me the chance to do a virtual tour. Sure. How can let's say I'm in Italy, yeah, and I've been given a virtual tour. We have land litigation issues in this country. Yeah. How will I be certain to know that this particular land is litigation free? This house I'm touring virtually is litigation free.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have a solution in that regard. Basically for land, we are aware of, I mean, the numerous land litigation issues. So, I mean, we've made a contact to land commissions. We tried to see if we could introduce something like land documentation verification system. So once, I mean, you are interested in the land, the documentation involved, you know, they have the numbers and everything, you're able to verify it online, right from the app, right from our website, and then know whether that land is in litigation or that land is registered in the name other than the person selling it to you and all. But that's actually the development. I mean, we are looking to roll that out very soon. But I mean, for properties, usually properties, we don't usually have as much litigation issues compared to the lands. So basically, on your own end, you're touring it from, I mean, a distant location. I would advise that perhaps you get someone who is home-based or a relative or someone to move on. The virtual tour doesn't replace the physical tour. It's just to bring in some convenience. But you should have someone to at least be on the ground and go and check it out and then give you full feedback. Yeah.
Great. So if you look at where you were and where you are now, how does it draw you to the kind of vision that you have? Perhaps your short-term or your long-term vision?
Yes, so where I were as in
the beginning stage, and then like where you've come too far, 2 years now.
Yeah, you know, they always say that the learning process starts once, I mean, you've taken the first step. There were many assumptions my team and myself we made before we started the journey. But once we started, we began realizing that some of what we thought the clients need were not really so. So we've had to make many changes to tailor it not to what we believe you need, but what you are telling us you need. So, I mean, we really monitor the back end of our platform. We know how many minutes one spends on any page. I mean, we have an online chat whereby you could contact us, you could inform us of issues you have, recommendations. So, basically, over the past 1.5 years, we have incorporated lots of feedback, and I mean, we have had to channel, in fact, we have had to we've had to modify in a way even our business model. So for instance, when we started, we were taking a hands-off approach. I mean, we have real estate agents, the realtors and all, so we were not getting involved. We served basically just as the middleman. So the real estate agents or the property owners, the landlords, they post their property, you see the property and you're interested, you contact them directly. But now we've realized clients are not so comfortable with, I mean, we have many professional real estate agencies, but some are unprofessional, I'll be honest. So there are issues arising. So we've had to now take a second foot in to make sure we are properly mediating. By that I mean, we are now running most of the transactions between us. Yes, you list your property, it's your property, okay? But we are now putting our face at the forefront so the client will deal with you through us. And if anything goes wrong, we'll hold you responsible. We have, I mean, sanctions in place for you. Yeah.
So that's my last question I was coming to, as to, you know, this issue of real estate challenges. It has a lot of challenges there. And I was thinking that, okay, you'll be able to come up with these but if there are challenges involved, how do you address that? Because perhaps I might gotten hooked to your system, gone on a virtual tour, make some down payment, realize that, oh, that property was not as I thought. There are a lot of challenges around it. What is your role therein?
Yeah, so we love feedback, be it positive or negative. So one thing you would, I mean, we hold paramount, or when you visit our website, one thing which, I mean, it's you cannot miss is our feedback button. Once you are dissatisfied with the service rendered you by a real estate agent, simply let us know, okay? We make sure we verify them when, I mean, the list, before the list and everything, we're able to contact them and all. So once we are informed by you of a dissatisfied service from a real estate agent, when we also step in to make sure that we are either, I mean, we investigate and then we are either banning them from our platform, because we also have an image to uphold and to also defend our clients. We are defending you, the provider of the property, but we also have to defend the seeker of the property. And as I mentioned earlier, we have drastically reduced even these issues by now getting more involved. So now you realize we are now more or less accompanying clients for viewings, as compared to before when we just left everything for the two parties to do. So now we are getting more involved. And before we take you on a viewing, we should be sure that the property, is being portrayed as it is on our platform. Yeah.
Finally, the next 5 years, where do you want to see these steps that you've taken?
Across boundary expansion. Ghana is an awesome country, and Ghana is gradually becoming the technological hub of not just West Africa, but Africa, trust me. So we believe that we are going to raise the flags of Ghana high. Audiohive should go across borders, should also be a usable product or service by our neighboring countries, yes, and should have inculcated even more services to put us in a catch-all position and to make sure that our clients are getting the best ever service. They are being left with an indelible mark on their minds once they use our service. So the next 5 years looks awesome for Ghana and for Audiohive.
Thank you very much. This is how we wrap up on Market Avenue today. My name is Nyarko. God willing, we'll come away tomorrow. Shalom.